And the news that has rocked the tennis world, ladies and gentlemen, Osaka parts ways with Win Facet and teams up with Patrick Mouratoglou. This is going to be amazing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Good Energy. This video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and we're also covered under the Digital Millennium Act. Now, listen, guys, arguably the greatest female tennis coach of all time, one of the greatest tennis coaches of all time. Let's go back. That's right, guys. 2012, when Patrick teamed up with the greatest female tennis player of all time, especially if we're talking about the Open era, Serena Williams. That 2012 year, in my personal opinion, I think was Serena Williams' best year, right? She won the U.S. Open. She won Wimbledon the month prior. And what about that London gold medal match where she served that out in style? She did the crip walk. Yes, she's from Compton, the city of Compton. Venus was pumped up dancing. That was the best Serena we've ever seen, in my personal opinion, guys. But we're going to talk about the Serena Slam as well. Under Patrick, Serena Williams, literally an 85% win percentage, 10 Grand Slams, 374 wins, just amazing, dominated the tour. The 13 season, she won the U.S. Open, the French Open. Now, this is where Serena, I think, if you weren't convinced prior, cemented her legacy as the greatest, at this time, the greatest tennis player of all time. We all know Novak, yes. I think right now, without a doubt, Novak's the greatest tennis player of all time. But he's come on as of late, the last few years. 14-15, where Serena won that U.S. Open in 14. She started things off in the 15 season, winning the Australian Open. She won the French Open. She won Wimbledon. And yes, guys, the Serena Slam, when Serena Williams held all 4 Grand Slams at one time, unreal, ladies and gentlemen. And it didn't stop there. She had success in 16 and 17, winning Wimbledon and the Australian Open again. Patrick, in my opinion, by far, one of the best coaches out there. I think he's personable. He doesn't try to change players, right? He puts together a game plan that suits his players. And this is why, look, I don't really want to bring up Simona Halep, but this is why Simona Halep flew to France and begged Patrick, look, coach me, coach me, coach me. Yes, the scandal happened. Listen, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I wasn't there, but we all know Simona was suspended for, PEDs, irregular blood work. Yes, the levels did indicate there was something going on in terms of performance-enhancing drugs. She was suspended. It came out that she was handed something by mistake, whatever. She's hopefully going to come back and have a great year next year. But it did kind of taint Patrick's name and legacy, right? But the reality here is, what about Osaka? How's this coaching relationship going to help her? With Win Facet, if you're not familiar, she won 2 slams with Win, right? She won the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. 20 and 21, her best years. She had a 70% win percentage when they started their relationship before essentially going on leave. She had the mental break. She had the pregnancy in 23 where she didn't play at all. But since coming back, literally, or let's just say since winning her last Grand Slam, right, in 21, it's been a rough time for Osaka, right? The last 2 full seasons she's played, she's got just about a 55 win percentage. She wins 55% of her matches, which isn't good. She's 33 and 26. She's only beat one top 10 player, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's Yelena Ostapenko. But the reality is she did have a chance to beat Iga, and that's why we're looking at this French Open, because we're looking at this matchup here because she did have a chance to shake up history. She had a chance to serve this match out against Iga Swiatek. After dropping the first set, she showed mental toughness, but this was also a time where she had nothing to lose, right? She's not a good clay player. She's mentioned that in the past. She wanted to focus on clay and grass, even though we know she's a hard court baby in her words, right? But under Wim, it just seems like I don't think Wim was the issue. I don't necessarily think the coaching change was warranted. I think just the amount of matches she plays. I mean, between 20 and 21, where she won 2 slams, she only played 44 matches. She's played 59 matches her last couple seasons, so she is playing more matches than previously, but the win percentage there tells me she just has to play more. She has to play a full schedule. Yes, she's a parent now. That could be difficult, but she's only beat one top 10 player in the last few years that she's played. That's concerning. She's got to play more. Now, what about this relationship with Patrick? How's it going to benefit her? Well, it starts with taking on someone she did beat at this year's French Open, Lucia Bronzetti. It did go 3 sets, but I think Bronzetti's playing really good tennis, right? Even though she made the semifinals last tournament, Bronzetti's playing good tennis. Her ball striking's getting much better. The way she's serving a lot better. She's moving a lot better. Her stamina's better. The two things that I noticed about Bronzetti in the past that I covered were the double faults and the faults and her stamina and her ability to be pinned deep and not really be a threat to her opponents. Her mid-range game was always there, top-notch backcourt crosshand. But she's improved the forehand deep and the backhand deep. And I can tell when a player's working. I watch so much tennis. I cover the sport. I know when someone's working hard in the gym. Bronzetti is working hard in the gym, and I'm telling you guys, next year she's going to win. I don't care if it's a 250. Bronzetti's going to win a title next year. Guarantee that. I guarantee Bronzetti will win a title next year. She's working hard. But the question is, when will Osaka win her next title? When? It's been several years. When will she win a title? Here's the thing with Patrick. I think Patrick, he's walking into a situation where he has, in my personal opinion, the best ball striker, the most technical player, the most technical serve. Osaka's a very clean tennis player. She doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I feel this year she's making more mistakes in general because she doesn't have her form or her rhythm. She's not playing enough. And Venus said it best. If you're not playing enough matches, it doesn't matter how good you are. Anyone can beat you. It doesn't matter their ranking. Osaka, I think Patrick, and I'm pretty sure one of the clauses for him signing up, because Patrick, he had the relationship with Holger. He's an advisor. He's been an advisor to Coco for a lot of years. Remember, Coco made that French Open final against Iga Swiatek. Patrick was in her corner for that camp advising her. He's a great advisor. He's got a ton of tennis knowledge. He coached Serena Williams for 10 years, arguably the 10 best years of her career, even though, she won more slams prior to the relationship with him. A lot of those were with Richard, her father, who's an amazing coach as well. Patrick, in my opinion, what he does best is he gives his players confidence. These players are all elite. They're all big time. They're all really good. What a good coach is going to do is just encourage their player to do what they know how to do best in those game pressure point situations. Patrick does that. Well, Patrick's a salesman. He's a really good salesman. I watch a lot of his videos. And he's very experienced, guys. Patrick is unlike any other tennis coach out there. And right now, Osaka has the best coach in the business. Hands down. You saw what he did with Simona to come back and win 2 master championships. Yes, she was, suspended for using PEDs. But the reality here is, does that make a big difference? It does. It gives you more oxygen, more blood flow, recovery between rallies, points, etc. But her performance under him is night and day, okay? That was a spark to her career. Patrick is that good of a coach. And I think he's going to let Osaka know. I think one of the conditions for him coming on board is, look, you have to play a full schedule. Even with Wim, if she's playing a full schedule, she's going to be back inside the top 10. Osaka's that good. She has the best serve. She has the best forehand and arguably one of the best backhands. I know Coco's up there. Even though Emma Raducanu's been injured, her backhand's top-notch. Donna Vekic has a top backhand, okay? Sabalenka has an amazing forehand, but listen, Osaka's forehand is the best in the business. Patrick's walking in to a top 10 player in her form, in her peak form, any day of the week. We just have to get her there. So my expectations here, I think she's going to get past Bronzetti. And I think next year we see Osaka back in a slam final. It's either going to be the Australian Open or the U.S. Open. One of those hard court tournaments, Osaka will be back in a slam final. And remember this first set against Iga Swiatek? This is one thing I think Patrick's going to do as well. The mental toughness. After Osaka dropped this set, I covered this match. No one thought that Osaka would come back and win the second set. But she did. A rainy day in France. I have a ton of beautiful pictures from Roland Garros. I might post those as well. Beautiful arena. Nice and modern and clean. No one thought she would win the second set. She came back, won the second set, blowout fashion, so to speak, right? The third set, she had the early break and had a chance to close that out. This match against Mukova, she won the first set, but she was up in the first set. And then she blew that lead. And I think with Patrick's going to really just put the gas pedal on that mental focus to where she can close out these matches like she knows how to. And like we know how she can do that. Like we know how she's capable of doing it, right? So I think Patrick is a great addition. He's the best coach out there. I think it's probably because, Coco, we all know she got rid of, she parted ways with Brad Gilbert. A lot of people were thinking, should she bring aboard Patrick? But Patrick's kind of always been an advisor to Coco behind the scenes, in case you're not familiar. At least prior to the last couple seasons, he's been in her camp. He's been advising her. France has been Coco's literally one of her favorite places to train. And Patrick's facility, it's regarded as literally the best facility out there, along with Nadal's. I think Osaka's going to have the opportunity next year to really show what she's capable of. And this might be her last run. I talked about how when players get older, especially over 30, no one's making Grand Slam finals over 30. It just doesn't happen. It's very rare. Tennis is a young woman's sport, or should I say young girl sport. It's always been a young lady sport. And this is that last push I think Osaka has to really cement her career. She could walk away right now, a 4-time Grand Slam winner. She's a Hall of Famer. Name 3 players on tour right now that have 4 Grand Slam titles. Name 3. Trivia in the comment box. Name 3 players on tour right now that are technically considered active that have 4 Grand Slams or more. It's going to be a challenge, right? So I think Osaka's a Hall of Famer either way. And I like the coaching addition. I think the real thing he's going to do, he'll clean up her game a little bit. She's already so technical and good, but he'll clean it up a little bit. But I think the big thing is he's such a good salesman on the mental aspect. And I think that's what Osaka needs. And I think she's going to have an amazing season next year. I think she's going to be in a Grand Slam final next year. That's my official prediction. And I also think Lucia Bronzetti, who she's going to take on tomorrow, I do think that Bronzetti is going to win a WTA 250 at least next year because she's looked really good. Tennis in a minute. We're back. I'm going to give you full coverage on the China Open. But what about the withdrawals, ladies and gentlemen? Danielle Collins is out. We all know Iga Swiatek is out. We all know Ons is out. Sakkari's out. There's a lot of people dropping out, guys, but also a lot of opportunities for players to step up, make game checks, and win points. Tennis in a minute. I'm your host, Good Energy. Like the video, show some love. What are your thoughts, guys? Is this a great addition? I think it's a great addition. I do think Stefanos we got to figure out what's going on with this Elena Rybakina rumor. Does anyone know? Comment below. I think Stefanos is the best coach out there right now. I would have liked to see David Witt. He partner up with Big Foe. Big Foe looks good, but I would like to have saw Coco pick up David Witt. But again, the timing wasn't right. She was still with Brad Gilbert technically at the time. I think Stefanos is the best coach out there right now. If he's able to join one of these top tier ladies, I think he's going to change their career. He is the best coach out there right now. But I do think that Patrick, he's probably the best female coach in tennis history, along with Richard Williams. I mean, the reality here is this is a great addition for Osaka. I think this is exactly what she needs. What do you think? Comment below. We'll be right back.